I'd like to introduce you to Paul Maré from the Microsoft Fast Track team. Originally, he is from South Africa, but he's now, for some years already, based in Germany. He brings a unique global perspective, and when he's not focusing on cloud and business applications, you might find him behind a camera lens, or climbing mountains, or performing the occasional sleight of a hand as a magician. Here is Paul Maré.
Good morning to everybody. It's my pleasure to be here. Only somewhat intimidated by the previous speakers, you know, but I've been around the block and I've been on stage lots of times as a magician, lots of times in business. And as a South African, I had the wonderful opportunity to join Microsoft a couple of years ago in 2012. And they said I could work anywhere in Europe, you know, and so being South African, I thought maybe Flemish, Dutch would be closer from a language and a cultural point of view. But then as a mountaineer, I kind of realized that this is a pretty flat part of Europe, you know, so I put my finger on the map and then landed in Munich, where I'm still living today. I've got two numbers on the slide just by way of introduction. 23 is the number of years I've been in the dynamics business. So I did one of those dangerous things that is hook your career on a product, you know, and who knows what will happen to the product. And Dynamics as a product has really done well for me, has done well for Microsoft. MeComs has built on it, so I would argue it's done well for Ferranti, and I believe we have many customers in the room, so hopefully it's done well for you. The number 3, I speak 3 languages. Afrikaans is my home language, English is like a second home language. And after 13 years in Germany, I live in a Bavarian village. I can speak German with a Bavarian dialect accent, you know, so I can pull that off. I also have 3 grandchildren, so not much hair left, you know, so I've been around the block a little bit. That's a quick introduction to me. The image that I chose for today, if you've ever been to Namibia as a country, there's a lovely place called Spitzkuppe, still the old German colonial name, and you get these sugarloaf mountains made of, you know, formed from granite. And during the day, it is really a pale gray color, but at sunset, the rocks light up with the orange light, right? And it's a really beautiful place. And for those of you that are from Belgium, one of my favorite beers is a Duvel. And I went on safari with a friend and I had 2 ice-cold Duvel beers, and we sat on a rock and we watched the sunset at Spitzkuppe, and it's still one of my favorite memories. So about 3 years ago, when generative AI was just starting to speed up, I said to the AI, generate me an image of Spitzkuppe at sunset. And I got this image, and if you've ever been there, I reckon you can recognize Spitzkuppe. That is pretty much the look and feel. But this is AI, of course, right? Look where the sun is setting, and then see where the rocks are lighting up from the wrong side, right? That's the hallucination of the AI. And this is, I guess, our cautionary tale always, you know, when we talk about artificial intelligence, you know, it is still artificial, right? And so that human oversight remains important. Back then, Microsoft used the term co-pilot to say, it's like a co-pilot, you know. We're not going to fly the plane with AI, we'll have a human doing the oversight, right? However, we are moving now into what we call autonomous agents that do more on their own. And I'd like to take you a little bit on this journey and see what that looks like. Now, if I'm working for Microsoft and I don't put a slide up with some details of our product, you know, I probably get fired for that, right? So I figured, let me give you that. But I'm not going to talk to all of the products. I wanted you to give a sense that there's a richness in our offering, that when Ferranti says MeComs is built on our platform is a big platform. It has lots of components in it, right? When this deck is shared with you, each of these styles have a click-through with what's the latest on our roadmap, what is the vision for the product. So it's a really good reference slide if you want to get some sense of where we are going with our business. But for my talk, I really want to focus on how Dynamics 365 and Copilot and the concept of agents form the new world for us. And if we talk about an autonomous enterprise, So what do enterprises look like when AI is involved? The first level, a level 1 enterprise, we would say we have some humans and we have some AI assistants, right? So I type a query, I get an answer, it helps me get my job done. And I think that's where most companies play today, is in that sort of level 1, you know, where you kind of use it as a chatbot, you know? And you put that prompt out there, and we'll look at some examples. There's some great benefits that you can get from AI today by just using that, but it really is the first level. The second level is really humans with agents. I take the more straightforward parts of my job, the more complex parts of my job, and I start outsourcing it to agents that act more autonomously. I might be doing some coordination, I might be doing some review as a human on top of that. That is kind of what we see as the level 2 enterprise. And the level 3 enterprise, you have agents orchestrating other agents. The agents are much more autonomous. And as a human, you're really coming in at the top. You know, the agent kind of tells you it's maybe time for you to make a decision or make an intervention, but we're delegating a lot more to agents. That's what we would consider a level 3 enterprise. So
Microsoft Copilot and Agents in Dynamics 365 ERP solutions are set to transform the way your business operates. Agents can become part of everyday workflows, like autonomously managing and collaborating with suppliers to confirm order delivery, proactively addressing risks and preempting costly delays, or helping finance teams close their books faster by matching and clearing transactions between ledgers, or helping service delivery teams manage time and expense entry by creating expense submissions and time entry recommendations. And this is just the beginning. Microsoft's agents are powered by a rich data cloud, bringing data together from across your organization. Productivity data in Microsoft Graph, with business process data in Microsoft Dataverse, and thousands of connectors to third-party systems. The agents learn alongside you and continuously improve by proposing updates to its logic for your review. You are in control. With agents performing the task on your behalf, you and your teams can scale quickly to minimize risk and exceed customer expectations, enhance cash flow visibility and business decision-making, and ensure projects stay on track and within budget. And if you have a unique business challenge, you can build your own agent with Copilot Studio to meet your needs. All this while adhering to comprehensive security measures and designed using Microsoft's responsible AI principles. Start today with Copilot and Agents in Dynamics 365 ERP solutions.
So that gives you a little bit of a glimpse into our world in the product, what AI looks like. There'll be more in sessions and things that we can look at today. But if you see how the environment is changing, you know, software as a service business applications, in the past we would have fragmented UX. Every application will have a different kind of experience. Brittle workflows, because something changes somewhere, it breaks something somewhere else, data sort of siloed. And in the AI world, if we start from a data perspective, the first thing is we need better quality data, holistic data. Otherwise, we take away the ability for the AI to form intelligent impressions on the data. So there's a lot of work happening on the data side. So in your business, data really becomes key, data quality really becomes key. Otherwise, the AI is not really unleashed in your business. Then we think of agents doing dynamic workflows and really orchestrating the experience. And what is the user interface in the new world? Today we have forms, we have views, we have fields on the screen that are typically painted by technical developers. They construct a user interface for you. We think of the user interface in future of being dynamically generated to fit the business process. If the business process is time recording, nobody's going to paint a form for time recording. We will just tell the AI, programming in English, you know, we have a time recording system. My data is in that system. This is basically how time recording looks in my organization. It will have the general knowledge of time recording overall, and it will know which underlying applications and data you want to link it to. And it will generate a dynamic user interface that will prompt you to do a simple and easy and flexible logging of your time. So think of a dynamic user interface generated on the fly for the business process at hand. It becomes the new universal interface. We will use AI as our access to our technology in the background. We'll use this reasoning and planning that the AI can do. But the AI also brings memory and context, past interactions, what didn't work so well. When did I put up my hand and I go, that was not really what I asked, that's not really what I had in mind, and it will remember that and improve as we go forward. The dynamics system, I'm going to take just our ERP part of our system. We have customer engagement, we have finance, we have supply chain management, we have a lot of technology in our stack. And if we go into the ERP systems, right, how does AI affect it? Well, we think the system needs to be modular, everything needs to be connective, and this cognitive intelligence needs to be part of it. So we use this underlying technical platform that we have. On top of that, we put an agentic foundation. What does that mean? We have first-party agents that already know how to do stuff. An agent could do account reconciliation, which is typically a manual process today in the finance department, right? It can automate that, and somebody in finance can just tick and say, yeah, I'm happy with that result. Look at bank reconciliations. These are practical processes that an agent can handle. And we would build what we call first-party agents as Microsoft that are horizontal. They apply to lots of customers in many different markets. But for the energy sector, as a horizontal player, we don't really understand your business that well, right? But a player like Ferranti as a partner has a deep understanding, and they'll bring something into this that will be contributing value as an agentic experience that you can take advantage that would be useful for your industry. And then increasingly think of Copilot at the top being your adaptive experience. The techies in IT don't go away because there's a lot of platform technology that still needs to be maintained, kept up and running. You need to implement it. But at the top level, we're starting to get a lot more flexibility in the applications. And in fact, as an end user, you will not really have the feeling I'm working with the finance application. I'm working with the field service application. You will just work with a user interface and a business process. And in fact, for the IT planners, for the CTOs in the room, here's an interesting thing. How do you budget for your IT usage in future? Today, you figure out how many users do I have, and you budget for so many user licenses. And actually, we are thinking in a year, 18 months, who knows, we will probably not be selling applications like we have today. We will not be selling user licenses. Because if an agent is operating autonomously, does that count as a user? And if I have 1,000 agents, is that now 1,000 users, right? So this whole user-based licensing is kind of going out the window for us. We think we'll transition to really a full consumption-based license. You'll get the apps maybe for free, don't quote me on that yet, but you just get the app. And what do you get on top of the app? You pay Copilot credits, which would be your consumption of AI. And if you're really using the AI intensively, you need more Copilot credits. If you don't have the Copilot credits, well, your app's not going to bring any value to you. It's like a new financial model, new challenges coming in, but this change is coming as we are moving forward into this. We're seeing huge investment from Microsoft in the first-party agents and in our AI capability in general. And I want to quote the head of our product team, Charles Lamana, said something very interesting. We are focusing about 60% of our capacity just on AI. There may be something in the current product that doesn't work so well, and you will notice we don't get to fix that because most of the budget is going into the new world, right? And so Charles Lamana said something interesting. He said, this is a fundamental change in product direction. We have to follow this direction. We're probably going to lose some customers, and I'm okay with that. We're probably going to lose some partners, and I'm okay with that. But tomorrow we want to be in this new world. So that gives you a little bit of our strategic direction and our vision as we go forward. What I'd like to cover is just a small case study where I look at the Microsoft Finance department just to see how they've been playing with this, right? How did they transform their finance journey over time? And it's a relatively long journey, but lots of challenges, lots of finance processes that your organization have, that we have internally that we needed to work on. And the first thing to realize is that as we move into this newer world, the finance leaders, which were typically tasked with maintaining these systems, doing the transactional stuff, are now becoming much more strategic because they control the business knowledge. they can organize initiatives around that, and so they actually become much more informative to the organization. So you go back to 2015, our focus already started on the unified data platform, because we know without the data we can't do anything. We applied the business intelligence, but if you look at that artificial intelligence layer, generative AI and agents kicking into the last year then became a really important part of our business. I'll leave some of the metrics for you to study later on, and also this slide we'll share the decks to see the types of solution that we put in that capitalize on AI just in the finance department. Maybe more practical, because it tells you what you could do. There are some interesting prompts. You could go ask a question, and this is from Amy Hood, our CFO. Based on our earnings summary document, which questions should we anticipate from investors during our earnings call? These are the kinds of prompts that we do, right? We would have prompts like, show me the real-time revenue breakdown by Azure services for Q2. So we analyze our product portfolio, but just using free-form English. So if you think of all that money that we invest in dashboards today, we are starting to move that into this free-form approach. Actually, maybe a couple of practical tricks. If you're in your Excel spreadsheet and you need to put a chart in, you know the Excel insert chart, and you select your data and you pick the type of charts? Skip that and just tell the Copilot, I would like a chart that shows me my revenue to date for the last year compared with last year's budget, and based on the seasonal trend projected for me for the next 6 months, right? You don't have to add those calculations in your Excel spreadsheet. If you want a trend line on the graph, you can just ask it to put it in. If you want to see, I don't know, 3 months weighted average curve, you just ask to see that and you get a chart. You will get charts that you actually can't generate with Excel. It'll just generate it for you because you just use that power. And this is the way I see us moving forward. In fact, can I share what I call a ninja trick for AI? Next time you ask the AI, let's say, for example, help me build a marketing plan, right? So you start by telling the AI, you narrow the scopes. You go, you're an expert in marketing, you know all about the 4 Ps of marketing, and you don't really know anything else, because by bringing the domain space in, you make the AI more relevant to you, right? Then you ask it, this is a really interesting thing. People in my team are calling it Paul's prompt. You go say to the AI, I will share a lot of context with you. Just absorb it and don't give me any answers yet. I will ask a question when I need an answer. Because now I'm in a position where I can just copy and paste text, context, existing information, and just share it with the AI. I'm not bothered with long prompts coming back. So that's the first part of the ninja trick. The second part of the ninja trick is I say to the AI, now interview me on the balance of information you need to help me generate a good marketing plan. And it then gives me 20 questions. And then I go, give me the questions one at a time, make them multiple choice, but also accept free text as an answer. And now it starts working beautifully because we're in a reverse prompting thing where the Copilot is asking me, hey, Paul, what is your color associated with the brand? Hey, Paul, what are some key values that you want to communicate in your brand image? And in this process, a lot of things that I would not put in the prompt, the AI is teasing out from me, so I give a much more complete definition. And at some point, it asks a question, gives me 5 choices, and I answer A, B, and a bit of C. The next question, none of the answers look good, and I just go, no, here's the free text answer to that. And when I'm done, I go, okay, now please generate me a formatted marketing document that I can take into Word, and you get the formatted text, you open it in Word, and there you get a marketing plan that's probably 80% of the way there. So that kind of trick is tell the AI to shut up and just absorb, right? But do it politely, because you know that the AI will remember that you've not been polite to it, right? So when they rule the world, you got to be ready. And then switch into the reverse prompting. So that's my sort of ninja trick on this. I have actually just 2 case studies. I'm going to skip that one that I want to do, and I will conclude there for today. We have just on one of the agentic experiences two case studies. This is the bank reconciliation agent. I'd like you to look at what this finance operation manager says. I've been running Copilot for our US bank reconciliations for 3 months, and it's cutting 80% of the time I used to spend on them. Now, you might say, my company is not ready for big-time adoption of AI. I reckon this is low-hanging fruit, right? Just take your bank reconciliation process and just use the AI. It will give you experience. It's low risk. It's high benefit. Just take advantage of that. The second customer said the reconciliation process was reduced just to 1 minute per session, right? This is just a win, and we should go after these wins, and see what we can take out from our organization. So my call to action to you would be to experiment, to play. Going back to Rick's presentation at the opening keynote, to be curious, to see what this can do for you. And you'll notice we have a lot in the product. It will come to you packaged very nicely from our partner Ferranti, so you can see it, how it's being implemented in MECOM, so how you take advantage of that. And we hope you have a lot of fun, a lot of interesting explorations, and that you enjoy our products as we go forward. I think the finance department can actually even be a leadership in this by taking that technology we have and show how you can bring benefit to your organization. It's been lovely being here with you, and I'll be around. Catch me for small talk in the breaks. Cheers, everybody.